Are you wondering how to effectively hire a virtual assistant for your business? And today I'm going to show you the exact process that I use to hire top quality virtual assistants. If you're new to the channel, my name is James Eardley and I've built and scaled a 7-figure e-commerce business which has enabled me time and location freedom. And with this channel and these videos, I'm teaching you how to do the same. So let's break down that process because it's so important to hire well when you hire a virtual assistant. So I've hired multiple virtual assistants now to work on my online businesses, and I can't stress how unbelievably helpful they are for your business because they take you away from the day-to-day tasks. So I've got a few notes here that I'm going to refer to, and I'm going to work our way through this process. But I think it's first of all crucial to explain how important it is to have a reliable virtual assistant. There are levels to virtual assistants, as there is with any employees for any job that you hire. And the difference between hiring a non-reliable to a reliable virtual assistant is massive. It's going to save you so much time in working with that virtual assistant to make sure that they know what they're doing. It's going to save you so much time in hiring new people if it doesn't work out. So the effort and investment that you make initially into going through the right process to hire an incredible virtual assistant is going to save you so much time and money in the long run. The way we do this is by having a well-structured hiring process that will ensure that by the end of the process, you can only possibly hire high-quality virtual assistants because you have a filtering mechanism throughout that process to ensure that only the high-quality and the best-suited virtual assistants will make it through. So what is a virtual assistant? If you're unsure, it is a person working often in another country who can work on your online business from virtually, from anywhere in the world. And they will do the day-to-day tasks or the tasks that you need somebody to do for you and your business, but they will do it remotely from somewhere else in the world. And this is now a big industry, especially in countries like the Philippines. They have large industries called the business process outsourcing industry. And there are many people over there in the Philippines that will get into roles where they could work remotely for businesses around the world. The reason this industry is so large and why virtual assistants are so popular is because from a virtual assistant's point of view, it's a fantastic opportunity to work from home or work wherever they want to be and work on a company with real growth, and they can really learn a lot in that position. And the opportunity for us as a business owner is that we can outsource tasks to reliable people for often a fraction of the cost of what we pay to employ somebody in our own Western country. Certainly that's the reason why I hire, but also it gives us access to fantastic customer service people. And people often in these countries are really well trained at customer service already because companies like Amazon, they have their customer service already in these countries. It means that we can work with the best people in the world at customer service who are very cheerful, very helpful, very happy to help, and also for a fraction of the cost. It also means we get to work with them as a freelancer. So we don't have to have employees in the business. They just work and they're paid for the hours that they do for your business. So when you're already up front with a small business and getting started, you don't have the ties of having an employee and all of the other tax implications that holds. We just have freelancers that work with us, and it's a very simple setup. Okay, so hopefully you understand why you need a virtual assistant. Now we'll move on to the first step in how you would actually hire a virtual assistant. Now I always use a platform called onlinejobs.ph. And I'll go to that website and I'll post a job there. Now you can use Upwork, but I believe that Online Jobs is the best for this type of long-term, full-time work for a virtual assistant. And if you're looking for somebody to do 40 hours a week, then you can post a job on there, and it's specifically for Filipino workers. And that's always where I've hired from. Okay, so I'll show you onlinejobs.ph. Simply search onlinejobs.ph in Google, and this is the website that I use to hire virtual assistants from the Philippines. And quite simply, all you need to do is post a job once you go into this access here. You need to sign up as an employer because you are looking for work and you'll need an account. So create an account for yourself, and then once you've got an account, you'll be able to post that job. Initially, you can just use a free account, but when you hire, you'll sign up to a monthly plan. And the way I always do it is I sign up to a monthly plan, which allows you to get more people to actually apply for your job. And it allows you to get their contact information to arrange calls with them and to really get them hired. So you pay for that fee. And then what I always do, I pay for a month find the right people, hire them, and then I'll cancel that subscription to online jobs as soon as I've hired the right person. So you create that there. Now, once you've created your account and you post a job, I'm going to talk you through this process that I have here. And now these notes that I've made are notes that I've genuinely generated when I was going through these processes over and over again to hire virtual assistants. So they're a little bit rough because I'm just making notes of my processes as I go through, but ultimately I can share these with you now so you understand the process. So phase 1 is the post job to site, and you need to make sure that we include requests for a CV, an Easter egg, which I'll come to, a grammar score, internet speed, and a voice recording. So that all needs to be included in a fantastic job post. So I'll show you an example of a job post for a virtual assistant, and this is the job post that I use. So I'm looking for a talented virtual assistant, and this is a job post that I created and posted for a customer service full-time virtual assistant for my dropshipping business. So you can see that I'm looking for somebody to do 40 hours a week, and specifically 9 to 5 UK time. So you can deal with this with ChatGPT. I didn't have that at my fingertips when I created this job post, but now you do have an amazing tool in AI, and you can create a job post. Now you can see that I've got the job brief, responsibilities, making it clear what they'll be responsible for, and then the requirements, making it clear what the requirements will need to be. Soft skills required, because that's important to understand what they're like as a person, not just the hard skills that they've got. And then talk about the opportunity, because you want to make sure it's a compelling job for people to understand what they get from it. And then make it clear what the next steps are. And in fact, something that I know is something that I need to put on here is an up-to-date CV is the final thing to add to this job post. Now, you probably haven't noticed because I haven't pointed it out, but there is an Easter egg in here. And it's something that I've asked for right in the middle of the job post. And this is something that's really key to really get high quality applicants. So you'll get hundreds of applicants within a few days, often for your customer service job on online jobs.ph. So we need to have a way that we can quickly sift through and just find the people with great attention to detail, who are really serious about the job. And the way we do that is by putting in an Easter egg, as they call it, somewhere in your job post. Now, I've put it in here, and notice how I haven't added it in the next steps section, because a lot of people would skim this, go straight to the next steps, and provide all of this. And for those people, we don't want to push them through to the next phase of the process. We only want to put through the people who have seen the Easter egg because they've read it properly and they've got good attention to detail. Now, the Easter egg that I like to use is an image of a carabao. So I think I've pronounced it correct. It is the national animal of the Philippines, and it's like a cow with horns. And I'm asking for them basically to find an image on Google and to present that with their application. And then all I need to do when I go through all of the applicants that I've got is just skim through, see who's provided the carabao. If they haven't provided that, then I don't need to waste more time on that applicant, because we just want to hire somebody that has great attention to detail. So I'll post this job onto the job site. Phase 2, we've got to wait for the candidates to come back, and when we have our, give it a couple of days, 2 or 3 days to get the applications back in, then we'll sift through the ones that we like the look of. So the absolute must is that they provide the carabao, and they provide all of the other requirements that we've put in there as well. So I asked for screenshot of internet speed, because that's absolutely vital. If they're going to be on the phone to customers, we don't want the connection breaking up. A voice recording, because they'll be speaking in this job post, so I need to know how well their English skills is and how easily understandable they are. The English grammar test, again, to make sure that they have good English, so when they're typing responses to customers, that's good as well. We need to make sure they've got experience, so 5 years in the business process outsourcing industry, because you don't want to be the first person to teach them, because the learning curve will be a lot slower if you are the first job they've ever had. And then the up-to-date CV, which is great because they'll provide you with a good overview of what work they've been doing over the past few years of their career, and that's where you get a real good feel for people. So once you've got all of those requirements sent to you from the candidates, we'll then ask them to complete the next tasks. And this is how we distinguish between the people who have made it through the first step, make sure we're just sending through people with good English skills, with good ability to think on their feet, and to provide good answers. So I'll ask them 2 questions, and this is the exact email that I will send to them. So I'll send them this. I'll say, hello, thank you very much for applying. I'd like to invite you, because you have been successful, to complete the second phase, which is to respond to the 2 example scenarios that we'd receive as a dropshipping business, and how would they respond. So the first one is if a customer gets in touch and explains that they have received an order and it's damaged, and the second one is that they've placed an order and we found out that it's actually out of stock. So you'll get good examples here of how people can interact with customers. How good are they? How apologetic are they? How helpful are they? And that will give you some really good feedback, and then you'll be able to start to see who can really speak well to customers. Now, from that, what I always look for is to have 3 or 4 people, the top 3 or 4 people who have made it through phase 1, and then also made it through phase 2, because you're excited by the responses they give, and they meet your standards for hiring. So once you've got your top 3 people, I'll then send this email to those successful candidates to arrange the phase 3, which is the interviews. So I'll say, thank you very much. I'd like to invite you to the final phase. And then that's when we'll create a Google Meets call to actually interview these people. So that moves us on to phase 3. So I have 3 people left. And they are informal interviews. They are chats, essentially. We don't want to have people on there that are feeling nervous or feeling scared, because then you won't get a real feel for who they are as a person. So I have all of these notes in front of me. And I've created all of these notes because I wanted to really have something in front of me while I was doing these interviews. These are the first positions I've ever hired, so I really wanted to be familiar with what I was asking people. So I wanted to know how I was going to go through the process, ask them all the right questions to get a good feel for them as a person, but also their experience, and to understand what tools they've been working on so far as well. So all of these questions I asked, made sure they were happy with the pay, made sure they're happy with their 2-week trial, just to make it really obvious that it may not work within the first 2 weeks. And then I'd have all of those questions at my fingertips. So the key while you're going through all of these questions is to really get a good feel for them, make sure they don't feel like they need to put a barrier up, make sure they can be normal with you, and that's how you'll get the best hires. Okay, so after the interviews, you'll just need to do a quick refresh and work out who you think is the right person for your job. Now, what I would do is do a voice memo into my phone after I finished each interview, so I could remind myself of what I thought immediately as soon as I'm fresh coming off the interview, and I'll listen back to all of those voice memos, and it'll be quite clear normally it's between 1 or 2 people, and then you really got to think about who came across best in the interview. And the most important thing to hire for, I found, is the right character. The right personality is more important than the experience and the skills they've got, because you can't teach somebody the right cheerful attitude, but you can teach people, you can give people experience, and you can teach people the right skills to be a great virtual assistant. So that moves us on. I've got notes here to tell them whether they've been accepted or unsuccessful. So again, it's all a process, so I don't have to be writing these out for every new virtual assistant. But this is an example of what I'd send to somebody. If they've been accepted, we'll let them know that we'd like to get them started, send over the contract, and find out when they get started. If they've been unsuccessful, then we'll thank them very much for their time and all the effort they've put into the process, but let them know that they weren't the right fit right now. Got that. Now, when you've sent over that to the successful person, and hopefully they've come back to you to say that they are very keen, we can then send over a contract. So I've got a contract made up for myself, which is appropriate for the virtual assistant that I hire for customer service, and it really just lays out on paper everything that you expect from them, and also everything they can expect from you as well, in terms of taking days off, covering for payment, how long they would need to give in notice in order to terminate the contract and stop working together. And it's something to have in person to make sure that both of you are on the same page in terms of the relationship. So it's good to have something in person. I've never ever had to look back at a contract after hiring a virtual assistant, because you just work together between yourselves. There's never been a need to go back and point, but I still would never enter a relationship without having something in writing, because then you can be really clear with that person that you're hiring what the expectations are. So I have a contract. I also have a separate HR policies, which is just being really clear about what our policies are for people taking time off. But ultimately, as they are freelancers, the overarching rule when you hire a virtual assistant, certainly in my case, is that they'll be paid for the time that they work. So if they don't work, they don't get paid. And when they do work, they get paid for the hours they work. And it just means that it's nice and simple for you as a business owner to get your VAs paid. The final step of the process is that I have an onboarding SOP to make sure that they feel comfortable and that they have all of the tools at their disposal. So what we'll do is have a bit of a welcome presentation, make it clear what the expectations are again, give them an overview of your business, and make it clear what the customer journey is. So that's something I believe is really important, is that they understand all of the touch points customers have and where they'll be along that journey and how they can enhance it and make it as beneficial as possible for that customer. We'll then get them access to all of the tools that they'll need access on, and we'll go through on the first day or two training on all of those tools. But fortunately, you'll be hiring people that often have experience with these tools, but if not, it's quite quick. You can get people trained and using the systems. Now, I use a tool called LastPass, which it allows me to send the passwords to all of our accounts for all of these tools in one go. And I use LastPass because they don't see the passwords, so it's very secure. They just need to log into LastPass and all of the accounts will be logged in automatically. And it's most secure because when they leave, instead of having to change all of your passwords, you can just cancel their LastPass account, and that means that they can no longer access your accounts. Okay, then we'll make it clear what the systems they need to use, their routine that you expect, and then I'll have a training in folder and all of the Loom videos that I've created for them to complete all of the processes that you've set up. So that's the final step, is to make sure that they are familiar with all of the tasks they need to do, and create Loom videos for all of the tasks that you do, so you can just send those to them. They can watch those videos in their own time, and as they go through processes like fulfilling orders or answering customer queries, you've recorded yourself doing it already. They can watch that at their own time, pause it, watch it back in slow speed, fast speed, however they want to watch those videos, and they'll be able to take on those jobs that you're passing on straight away. So that's my full process for hiring a high quality virtual assistant from the very start. Now, mistakes people make that I've seen is that they will not put in those Easter eggs to really thin out and get the high quality people on board. They'll rush interviews and not spend the time to get to know them and ask all the right questions. And these are also mistakes that I've made, by the way. So I've learned from these. Also, you need to make sure you're hiring for attitude and character more than experience and skills, because that will ultimately pull you through for the long term. And again, once you've got a virtual assistant on board, something that you've got to be keen on is really nurturing that relationship with that person, checking in frequently with a Slack channel, and maybe have a weekly call. And maybe that needs to be daily initially. And then once you've got onto the weekly calls, check in with how they are, understand what they're working on, make sure they know you're there to support them and to help them, and really nurture that relationship. Because if you've got a great relationship with the team of virtual assistants, then they will take so much work off your hands, so you can focus on the most important tasks of scaling that business. So I'd highly recommend hiring virtual assistants, but making sure that you follow a process so that you can hire the best quality, and then invest in nurturing that relationship with your team over time, and then you can have virtual assistants with you for years. So my longest serving virtual assistant is still the first one that I ever hired, who's been with me now for over 2 years. And long may that continue. But that comes from nurturing and having a great relationship with your team, making sure they know they're part of a team. So that's that for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed learning about this process of hiring virtual assistants. If you're struggling to leave a 9-to-5 job and perhaps you're starting a business up and you want to hire virtual assistants, well, we're creating a community of people that are lifting each other up, sharing experiences about hiring virtual assistants and running a business. And it's all a free community. So if you're interested in getting around like-minded people, entrepreneurs that want more for themselves, then check out the first link in the description, which is for the free Freedom Builders community. It's just a gateway to that community. There's no pay. Don't worry, it's not a big paid expensive course, anything like that. It's just a chance for you to get around other like-minded people. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it because it lets me know that you enjoy this type of video. Subscribe for more videos like this and comment to let me know if you have any questions about hiring a virtual assistant, and you can start answering those to each other inside the comments. Remember, you're not watching a YouTube channel here, but you are joining a movement of people that are building freedom in their lives. So with that said, I will catch you in the next video.